Hey loves, welcome back to my channel. It's your girl Mariah Sincere, and I am back with another bomb live. For those of y'all who are brand new to my channel, maybe y'all came here from LV Nation's channel, welcome back. My day ones, welcome back. If you haven't subscribed, please consider hitting the like button. I'm coming at y'all with some really good content. I know my live said that I was supposed to come on at 7:45, but that was an accident, and I gotta come on right now. Okay, for those of y'all who don't know who I am, I do social commentary, and I'm also a self-love coach who specializes in helping people radically transform their lives. At the beginning of last year, I was completely unhappy, and I decided that I wanted to change. And little did I know I would be moving out of the United States. So I'm coming at y'all live from the beautiful country of Medellin, Colombia. What's up, Skinny? Good to see you. How are you today? Skinny, I might need you when I needed you yesterday. I needed you yesterday. My chest got flooded yesterday. Shout out to LB Nation and all the new subscribers. But it's good to see you, Skinny. So yeah, I had somebody ask me, they were like, I'm from Texas and you're from Texas. And how does that make sense that you left Texas to go to Colombia? That seems like you're moving backwards. And for those of y'all who don't know me, or you're just now tuning into my channel, I will give y'all a rundown. Please hit the like button if you're just now coming in. So I'll give y'all a rundown. It's okay, Skinny. You're here today. Um, so yes, y'all, honestly and truly, during the Biden administration, things had just gotten too bad in the United States. I mean, the price of gas was ridiculous. I was living in Texas, and Texas it was kind of in a very unique situation, and that not only was Texas dealing with a lot of like immigration from the southern border, and yes, Greg Abbott was sending a lot up north and things like that, but we still had to absorb some of that. And then on top of that, the costs were going up in California and New York and Chicago, so everybody was flooding into those areas, and it led to hyperinflation in Texas, so much so to where a lot of people now, like, if you're moving there, like from New York, it's still relatively cheaper. It just depends on how expensive, but it's nowhere near the deal it used to be. I mean, my first bedroom, one bedroom apartment when I moved out on my own in Texas in 2011, I was 18 years old, going to community college, working a job, making $10 an hour, and I had an apartment for $500 a month, and I could take care of myself. So obviously, that's not the situation anymore. And it got to the point where I felt like I was one accident or one emergency away from disaster. I was always tired. My daughter was falling behind in school because the education system was just so bad. The teachers were overwhelmed. So I decided, you know what? It would be better for me to go to an what up, Sheba? What up? Good to see you, sis. So I decided it would be better for me to move to another country where my cost of living would be lower. Now I don't work here. I make money outside of here. You can't like I told y'all in the live yesterday. If you're an American citizen, don't move out the country expecting to get a job somewhere unless you move to like Europe or Dubai or something like that. So I work for a company overseas, and I'm able to work. I work like from 3 in the morning until 10 in the morning, and then I homeschool my daughter after that. And she's caught up in school, and I don't have to have a car or anything like that. Everything is very close. So I have a peace of mind. A lot of people think I left the United States because I hate the United States. No, I didn't like what was happening to our country. I feel like because people are so overworked in the United States as a culture, people just didn't have time. I know a lot of times Americans think that, hi, Blue Rose. What's up? Good to see you. Good evening, LV Nation in the house. What's up? Good to see you, girl. I know a lot of y'all. Please hit the like button too when y'all come in. That helps people know I'm on live. I know, and I used to feel this way too. I know a lot of the times we think Americans are like mean or like we're lacking in culture. And honestly, it took me leaving the country to see that no, Americans are overworked. They don't have time for friends, family, and fun. By the time we get together, we exhausted. Our spirit beat. Our spirit is worn down, So, to be clear, because I had somebody, a lot of people think that I left because Donald Trump got elected. No, I left during the Biden administration. I sure did. I didn't even know which way the election was gonna go, but I decided to leave under that administration because I knew that even if Donald Trump got elected, it would get worse before it got better. And me as a single mom, I wasn't going to be able to absorb those costs and then try to do YouTube and do things that I like and be a present mom, and it just wasn't gonna work. So I would have never been able to build this channel. So that's why I left. Why I'm still in y'all business over there is because obviously I'm an American citizen. I still have to pay taxes while I live abroad, and I genuinely care about what happens to the American people. Now, I chose not to. For those of y'all who are wondering whether I'm a liberal or I'm a conservative, I used to be a Democrat. I was a lifelong Democrat. I started seeing problems. Y'all know what happened during the 2016 election with the primary and Bernie Sanders. Then in 2020, what happened during that primary? And then, honestly and truly, I don't have any proof to support it, but my theory is due to the mail-in ballots and the COVID situation, I honestly don't think that Joe Biden won that election fair and square. Like, and then at the time I became even more disillusioned because I couldn't understand why the Democrats were getting behind somebody who clearly had dementia. So it's like y'all just want to win, y'all don't care who gets in the office. So that pushed me further and further away from the Democrat Party. Uh then COVID hit, COVID hit really hard. I had already said when Trump was in office, I wasn't taking any inoculations. I said it had nothing to do with who was the president. It had everything to do with I'm not putting something that y'all rushed into my body. I don't care who's in office. And I stood on that when Kamala and Biden and them got in office. Right. And then the situation, it's like the economic situation got worse. Again, I've always lived around illegal immigrants, never had a problem. This was a different wave that was hitting though. There were so many criminal elements that was involved, so much trafficking that was going on, people's whole communities changing literally overnight. So I could no longer align myself with that party. Also, I was a Texas liberal. And a Texas liberal is way different than a California liberal. Hey guys, if y'all are just now coming in, please hit the like button. If you are returning from LV Nation, thank you for coming back. What's up, Will's Tumbling? Good to see you. How are you? Hey, Blue Rose. Hey, Renee. Thank y'all for following. Have you been to Boston? We mean over there. But you know what? Americans are really good-hearted people. And if y'all subscribes, if you want to be a member tonight, I have somebody that's a member. I'm gonna do a members only live, and I'm gonna explain why I say that. Americans, I didn't realize until I left this country that, like, at the core, I don't care how hard we act or how aloof we act or how socially awkward we have become as a culture. At our core, Americans are very good people. Very good people. Very naive people sometimes. Hi Tam Tam. I'm sorry to hear that you didn't like US. It became too much. Like it wasn't that I didn't it wasn't that like for I'm from Dallas. It wasn't the place that I grew up anymore. It changed. I'm used to like old school kind of southern values. We're a little bit slower in Dallas, and it was just like our whole lives had got upended in Texas. Again, we were dealing with mass illegal immigration, everybody moving down there from the north and from the east and from the west because they're trying to escape the high cost. So I get it. it got to the point where I had so much anxiety because the traffic was so bad and everybody drove so bad that, like, imagine every time you get on the road, you're seeing a a wreck that's so bad that it ends like it's a death. Like, you know, whoever was in that wreck, they passed away. Cars on fire. I mean, you're seeing this constantly driving back and forth. Thank you. You're awesome, girl. Keep up the great work. Thank you so much. So yeah, but I still care about the United States. And I feel like ultimately when the United States and the people of the United States flourish and prosper, everybody else around the world flourish and prospers because we show so much love. I don't care what anybody say. The United States give so much foreign aid. And yes, we've had politicians who have given it for nefarious purposes, but we've also genuinely given foreign aid. We're the only group of people that I know that would sit up and advocate for people to be in our country illegally. And I know the conservatives are like, not me, but like you would be hard pressed to find even a quarter of another country where they would be supporting it. And you got the Democrats who were like, let these people stay. That is non-existent everywhere else in the world, you know. So again, I left the United States. I'm not a Democrat. I'm independent that leans conservative. I'll say that. And the reason why I'm reluctant to say that I am a conservative is because I got burnt by the Democratic Party so bad that I never want to look at any party through rose-colored glasses. And the uniparty is real. The uniparty, those old heads in Congress who work against the American people's favor together and who like to play like they're against each other, but they secretly have meetings and dinner and go to each other's houses and conspire against us. That's a very real thing, you know. Another reason why I don't say that I'm conservative is because there are certain things that I don't necessarily agree with. For example, again, I'm a Texas liberal. Well, I was a Texas liberal. So socially, I never really got on certain trends. Like, I was never on the whole transgender thing. You know, that was always a no for me. Do I believe that they should be respected? Do I believe that I don't believe people should fire them from their jobs and things like that, but I don't believe my tax dollars should pay for transitions, and I don't believe that boys should be playing on girls teams and girls should be playing on boys teams, and the sharing of the locker rooms and transgender people and in the women's I don't believe in none of that. I'm sorry, I don't believe in any of that. Okay. But I don't necessarily have a problem. I'm not like rah rah about it, but in terms of like gay people being able to get married, I'm not a super religious conservative where I'm like, oh, we should outlaw that. I don't care. I don't care. You know, it's not something I'm gonna go march in the streets for. It's not nothing I'm gonna pay attention to. But also, I don't want to see it every time I turn on my TV. I don't want to see every time I turn on a kid show. I don't want to see two men or two women kissing. And that became too much. So again, I've always been economically liberal, but I would say I'm a little bit more socially conservative. Let's say that. I tend to agree with conservatives more. Thank you so much, Skinny. Thank you, Tokyo. I can't say your name. Toxiotco. Okay, thank y'all. Thank y'all so much from LB Nation. Boston people, no, not they mean. Yep, it was happening in the whole world too. Good for you to stand your ground. US too, yeah. US too. The scamdemic changed everything. So it did. And I didn't get that inoculation. I sure didn't and wasn't going to, never will. And my daughter didn't get it. And I was in Texas. That's another thing that made me realize, okay, liberals have kind of lost their mind. So I remember in 2021, I traveled to DC. Mind you, in my mind, as a Texan, the pandemic is over. The scam, can I say that online? The scamdemic is over. It's been over. We opened up like as soon as they lifted the federal mandate for people to stay home. we were outside. I think it was like about no more than a month and a half. Within 2 months, we were back working. We were outside. Everything was opened up. We were living regular life. I wasn't walking around wearing a mask. Were there Texans, like liberal Texans, who were doing that? And the older people, I'm from Dallas. It's a liberal city. Were they doing that? But even in Dallas, the majority of us were not wearing those masks. A year after the pandemic, I went to DC and I go inside of a grocery store. I think it was Tum Thumb. And an older lady gonna tell me, "Where's your mask at?" Like, she said it to me like she had the authority to ask me. And I was like, wow, this is just so different culturally, because that is so rude. Like, people in Texas know that if you question somebody like that in public, it might end up in a fight. Like, you don't do that. That's not your business, lady. And then I ended up having to go to the doctor while I was there, and it asked me what I identified as. Like, and I'm like, I just, it was something I never saw in Texas. Okay. So yeah, us Texas liberals, again, I'm an ex-liberal, but us Texas liberals were always much different than a New York liberal or a California liberal. I'm new here, so where did Mariah move? I'm coming at y'all live from Medellin, Colombia. And this is another reason why I kind of don't mind going in the way I go in about illegal immigration. So I'm here legally. And I know a lot of Americans like to conflate, liberals like to conflate legal immigration and illegal immigration. So I've had several ask me, well, how can you feel the way you do about immigrants and you're an immigrant? And well, that's real simple, boo. I'm a legal immigrant. And I have no problem with legal immigration into the United States. Legal, vetted immigration. I have absolutely no problem with it. So it's real simple. It's real simple. To me, it's real simple, but it's real hard for them, y'all. The math don't be mathing. The equations don't be equating. Yes, it's cool here, but it's giving me a different perspective. Oregon was totally out of control. Still is, yeah. In Michigan, I never wore a mask. I got plenty of dirty looks. No one said anything. Yeah. Yeah. And, in Texas, even if somebody thinks something, they knew not to say anything to you. So that was just so weird to me. But, anyways, I'm going to get into the topic at hand, guys. So, a very unfortunate thing happened. There was a congresswoman, a Minnesota congresswoman, who was assassinated yesterday. Her name was Michelle Hoffner. I hope I'm saying her name right. No, I'm sorry. Melissa Hoffner. Y'all done said the lady name all the way wrong. I'm sorry. I need to respect the deceased. Melissa Hortman. So she's not in the US Congress. She is well, hold on. Was she in the Congress? Y'all, I'm confused. Yeah, she is a congresswoman. So she's a Minnesota House Speaker, Melissa Hortman. And there also was another man who got attacked, but he survived. They're recovering. And his name is, give me a second, because I never heard of these people before this happened. Senator John Hoffman. Okay, so him and his family are recovering. Melissa Hortman, she is no longer with us, right? And I just want to say this: both of them were Democrats. And even though I'm not rocking with the Democrats in no way right now, I do not condone any type of political violence. I don't. I didn't condone it when they did it to Donald Trump during the election, and I'm not gonna condone it now just because it's on the opposing side. Do y'all understand? And I feel like if you are a conservative, we would do well to be very like loud about, instead of trying to go tit for tat with the Democrats about this, like loudly condemn this type of behavior. Just because the Democrats didn't care when Trump got, pew pewed, y'all know we're on YouTube, that doesn't mean that we behave the same way, is what I'm trying to say. It's not a laughing matter at all. And I understand a lot of times we get frustrated with members of Congress. But trust and believe, the way this system is set up, if one get unalived, who's to say the one coming behind him is going to be any better? So it does you no good to even think like that, in my opinion. Okay, so they're state. That's what I thought. I thought they were a state Congress member. Okay, so I'm gonna pull up this TikTok, and then we're gonna get to this senator who got on my nerves. Not a senator, he was a congressman who got on my nerves. I'm gonna pull up this TikTok because this dude had a very interesting conspiracy theory about what happened, but upon further investigation, I don't think that it holds up. Now, I will apologize in advance because he is going to do a whole lot of cussing. All at one time. Give me a second. Here we go. I'm going to present my screen. That ain't it. Here we go.
Oh, would you look at that? Minnesota lawmakers Melissa Hortman killed and Senator John Hoffman wounded in targeted political violence. Now, calm your tits down, Karen. You betas on the left, you window lickers, walking cancer, all that shit. No. It wasn't MAGA. It wasn't. No, it wasn't. It wasn't. Okay. No, it wasn't. Okay. Do you know what these two recently did or what they voted against? I bet you don't, because your heads on the left are so far up your sphincter. It's absolutely disgusting. Okay. And you're stuck in your liberal echo chamber of bullshit. No, they recently, okay, voted against their cult. Vote blue, no matter who. That's a cult, you stupid motherfuckers, not MAGA. Okay. Anyways.
Now, I don't like that he's going in like that, but what I will say is, yeah, that vote blue no matter who, that was definitely cultish. And I was like, no, I'm on during that time, I was only going to be voting for Bernie Sanders. I'm sorry. Yeah. No. Anyway.
They voted against, in the state of Minnesota, allowing illegal immigrants to receive health care. High five, you two. Unfortunately, I can't do it. Yeah, so you're
okay. So he's saying that this might have happened because they had voted for against their own party. They had voted against illegal immigrants receiving health care. Now, upon further investigation, this theory doesn't necessarily hold up because I went and looked into it. So what I found is Minnesota House Speaker Melissa Hortman voted in favor of revoking healthcare accesses for undocumented adults in the state. So this happened on June 9th of this year. Then it says, tragically, just after casting the pivotal vote, Senator Hortman and her husband were fatally shot. Okay, now it might seem like they're connected, and perhaps it might be, but that doesn't explain John Hoffman, because actually voted he voted for them being able to have access to health care. So they had two separate votes. So the dude that's in this TikTok video, he's not giving accurate information. He's saying that both of them voted for revoking access to health care for illegal immigrants, but no, the lady Melissa voted in favor of revoking the access to the health care. John Hoffman voted against revoking the access to the health care. I hope that makes sense to y'all. So, like, this theory that they both got unalived because of the way they voted, it doesn't necessarily make sense because both of them voted differently.
Cult, because you guys are the twisted individuals, the mentally unstable, Okay, the delusional freaks, the outcast on the left. No, you really are. Okay, you believe men can be women and women can be men. No, all you do is play dress up. That's it. That's all it is. And you fucking believe that you can be a furry. You guys are mentally unstable. Hence this. Okay.
I mean, to be fair though, the media is reporting. We don't know. Enough information has not come out. And the media thus far is reporting that the dude that did the unaliving is a registered Republican. So we don't know the situation. This could all be some type of psyop. This could all be, we don't know. There hasn't been enough time that has passed for us to make any type of assessment, right? And I don't think that we should go at each other's throats in behind the matter. That's in my personal opinion.
You think MAGA is going to go and do something like that when those two voted with common sense with the Republicans?
But what he's saying doesn't really make sense because you don't know if this person really was the one that unalived them and planned it. You don't know the reason, the motive. We don't know that yet. It's too soon. So, I'm done listening to that. But for what I brought y'all here for, I'm going to share this. This congressman made me really mad. His name is Adam Smith. This was on MSNBC. I only watched this for y'all, to be honest, because I don't watch MSNBC. It's too biased. They have an agenda, an obvious and clear agenda. They lie too much. They lie so much. Them and right behind them is CNN. CNN lies a lot. Okay. I'm more of an independent news type of person, but I said I'm gonna start actually try to listen to what the mainstream is saying, but it's the lies for me or the narrative spinning. And can't help but think the only people who were sitting up listening to them are like older people who are stuck in their ways.
Now I'd like to welcome Democratic Representative from Washington, Adam Smith. He's a Democratic ranking member of the House Armed Services Committee. I'm going to take a deep breath, Congressman, because there's a lot to talk about today, none of which is good news. First, I just want to get your thoughts about these horrible tragedies taking place in Minnesota early today.
Well, it's terrifying. I mean, it is a...
Okay, so KNK says not true, don't lie. They both voted across party lines. Are you trying to say they both voted with their party or they both voted against that bill? I'm not trying to be untruthful. That's the information that I found. So if you could give me some clear, I'll go look for it actually. I'll try to find a different source. Caramel coated cutie. Hey Mariah, new subscriber, LB Nation mentioned you. Thank you for coming over here. Thank you for subscribing.
Direct threat to our representative democracy. And we've seen an increase, certainly in violent rhetoric, but also in acts of violence. And I think everyone needs to be more careful about the rhetoric they use and to condemn all of this. But, and I'm sorry, President Trump, uses some of the worst rhetoric out there, and also pardoning all of the January 6th attackers of the U.S. Capitol just sends the wrong message.
What does pardoning all the people that were involved in January 6th have to do with this? I'm over it. I'm tired of hearing about it. I heard about January 6th for 4 years straight. I do not care. I do not care. The majority of those people that got arrested didn't even do anything wrong. They were just in the wrong place at the wrong time and wondering and got swept up. But in any event, I feel like any ill sentiments that the Democrats had about January 6th should have been seen as an even score when Joe Biden pardoned himself, his whole family, Anthony Fauci, preemptively. Like they weren't even accused of anything. So it's like, why are y'all still harping on January 6th? A wash is a wash. Why are we still talking about this? And what does that have to do with this? Furthermore, I've heard Democrats say things like take it to the streets, get our country back. I've heard Democrats make violent threats and talk about revolution. It's to the point where you cannot blame that on somebody choosing to get a weapon, hunt people down, and unalive them, right? In my opinion,
on this. We need to universally condemn political violence, whether it's coming from the right or the left. And frankly, I have not seen that from the Trump administration. He mused openly about pardoning the people who had attempted to kidnap the governor of Michigan. That creates an atmosphere of impunity that I think doesn't help what is already a very volatile situation. But mostly, it's just a very terrifying thing, for anyone involved in public politics to think that, two elected state legislators could be targeted this way just because of the job that they are doing.
But that's specifically what I want to ask you about, because it was just 2 days ago at that press conference in Los Angeles, Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem declared that federal troops are in California. They're in Los Angeles. I want to make sure I get it right.
Girl, okay, again, they're using the unaliving of these two people to push a political agenda. It's like the talking points are planned, and they wonder why so many of us don't rock with them anymore. It's so disingenuous.
To liberate the state and city from its elected leaders. Does that not make you worried when we have people that senior in government are talking about liberating a city from duly elected lawmakers? And now look at the tragedy that's unfolded in Minnesota. Does that not make you worried, scared for your own?
Now, let me say this. I don't believe in any type of political violence. This is absolutely not a call for anybody to do anything to any governmental officials in California. But like in some type of way, it seemed like them Californians want to be liberated. Because let's be clear, a lot of that state went red during this last election. It seems like the liberal cities are what's holding them hostage. And I feel like I have every right to say that, being a Texan and being in a state where we absorbed a lot of California's population due to the failed policies of the Gavin Newsom administration and those who came before him. So I have a right to speak on it because Texans and our way of life and cost of living were directly affected. And again, that is not to say anything negative about the Californians who were just trying to have a better life for themselves and go where they could win. Not at all. But like none of that would have ever happened if it were not due to the failed policies of those administrations. I like what you said, Charmer. J6 peeps still did jail time. Yeah, like they were in jail for like 4 years. I don't care. I'm not thinking about those people. Hey, Binky. MB, I'm wrong. It's 42, 45 people. Y'all, this is my girl Binky. Y'all see my girl Binky, Bianca, and Sheba in the chat. They do commentary. They do like social commentary. If y'all want to be entertained and get y'all mind out of politics. So they have channels on here too. Joe pardoned some of the worst criminals. Yeah. And we're supposed to sit up here and think about January 6th. I don't care. People are ready for change. I'm not a political groupie. I don't love any politician. I'm the same way, Binky. And that's another reason why, for those of y'all who are just coming in at the beginning of the live, I was explaining I am definitely not a liberal. The left left me and they left me a long time ago. I'm an independent who leans conservative. And I'm going to actually have to do a whole live about that because I don't like what I see going on with Israel. And that's another reason why I won't say I'm conservative, because I know a lot of Christian conservatives feel like we should back Israel up in whatever it does. I'm very anti-war. And if we go to war with Israel, when I tell you I will be on Trump like white on right, if we go to war with Iran, I will be on him like white on rice, because I am anti-war, especially when it does not benefit us at all. I am for the American working class people. How are they attributing CA to Minnesota? Again, the shooter in Minnesota and his wife both work for Walls. Again, they're using this as an opportunity to spew talking points. They do not care that those people got unalived. They haven't sat up here and did any type of memorial in this segment, memorandum, talked about any good things they did. None of that. This is all a play to get their voter base upset and in fear, thinking that we're finna have some type of civil war in the country, which we're not. Hey, what's up, Olivia? Good to see you. Hey, Leonard. Good to see you back. I am watching from South Korea. Discovered you yesterday. Are you South Korean, Leonard? Or did you move there? That's cool. You know, I'm going live. I'm coming at y'all live from Medellin, Colombian. I know you are independent. That's why I love listening to you talk about those things. Very logical. Thank you. I appreciate you, girl. I don't believe Biden knew all those auto pin party. He probably didn't, especially if he didn't take his medicine that day, girl. Still saying old school liberals and moderate conservatives have more in common than opposed. Of course. And that there's no need for all the friction and tension. We can come together on things that we agree with, and be truthful and honest and work together in good faith. And in things we don't agree with, we don't have to hate each other about it. We work it out, you know?
Personal safety?
It makes me really angry more than anything that people who are supposed to be upholding the U.S. Constitution and our representative democracy, which I am incredibly passionate about, would use that type of language against their federal elected officials. And one of your commentators was saying earlier, or your reporters were saying earlier, it's almost as if Donald Trump views the United States military as his own personal guard. It's not almost, it is. President Trump is trying to turn the United States military into.
Well, let's be clear here. Per the U.S. Constitution, he is the commander-in-chief of the armed forces. I mean, he has a lot of power over the U.S. military. And it's not just Donald Trump. It's been every president before him.
To his personal police force. That's why Los Angeles.
Sir, he has his own personal police force. It's called the Secret Service.
Is so dangerous, and the rhetoric is so dangerous. Look, the Trump administration just.
I have absolutely no problem with him sending federal forces to Los Angeles, because I remember what happened. I remember how we wowed it out in Dallas. I'm from Dallas, and it's a liberal city. So our police chief, she didn't really kind of rule with a firm fist. And during that protest, they were busting out windows to businesses, doing all kind of things that didn't have anything to do with the actual issue at hand. So I already know how in Dallas we will tear up a city. And with the president, it's kind of like you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. If you let people burn an entire city down, and LA just got burnt up, like literally burnt up. You know, if you burn a city, if you let them burn a city down, you got people looking at you like, well, why don't y'all do anything? Or why aren't the police doing anything? And then if you do something, you got the other side saying that you're trying to take away our freedoms. So, it's better to just err on the side of we're going to be preventative. We're going to be proactive instead of reactive first.
Does not think that laws, the Constitution, any sort of norms apply to them. We need to stand up and push back against that peacefully and in large numbers and relentlessly. And that is what you are seeing happening today. But Trump is attempting an authoritarian takeover of our government. And whether you're a Democrat, Republican, conservative, liberal, if you believe in representative democracy, you need to speak out against this loudly and relentlessly.
Well, I'm glad that you brought that up, Mr. Adam Smith, because I did a little research into your background, and let's talk about it. New rule: if you've served more than 2 terms in Congress, you are not allowed to claim that any sitting president is trying to be a king or a queen or rule over anybody. It's giving the pot is calling the kettle black. Mr. Adam Smith has been in Congress since 1996. I was 3 years old. I'm now 32. Sir, it's giving you don't know how to let go. Whatever power or whatever benefits that came with you being in Congress, you don't want to let it go. And I understand he's democratically elected, but y'all know how this goes with the gerrymandering and the rezoning and all the things that they do to keep their seat. I don't agree with that. Yet you will have these same members of Congress, it's not just him, sit up and talk about dictatorships and people trying to be kings. And it's like, sir, you are holding on to your seat for dear life. You won't let anybody younger or fresher or more in tune with the American people come up in behind you. You just won't let it go. So is this about us or is this about you? Let's be for real. And that parade was amazing. I saw it. It was a very beautiful parade. I watched it on Asmongold's show. Look into Operation Mockingbird. The CIA has actually admitted and released the document saying they controlled the media. Wow. Let me write that down. Operation Mockingbird. Okay. I'm more liberal as more of leave everyone alone. So what you want to do within the boundaries of the law doesn't hurt anyone. Only would stay and more conservative in the economic markets business. Okay. Okay. I get it. I get it. Hi, Lori. Term limits are needed. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. But it's to me, it's just so funny. It's very ironic when these type of congressmen have so much to say. I don't care who it is. Sir, you've been in office almost as long as I've been alive. Again, I just turned 32. You've been in office almost as long. You've been in office before I could ride a bike. I'm center left, and I do see how Dems are no better than Republicans. They want to die with their boots on. Yeah, it's time to let it go. It's time to let it go. What I think should happen if the deficit is more than 3% of GDP, all sitting members of Congress are ineligible for re-election. Okay. What do y'all think about that? I'm going to leave that up there for y'all to ponder on while I play the rest of this.
You are a very centrist, practical lawmaker. How did we get to this place? Think about the day that we're in, right? Mass protests, no King's Day across the country, while there is a military parade taking place in Washington, and lawmakers in the state of Minnesota, I'll use Tim Walz's words, who faced politically motivated assassination at 2:00 this morning. How did we get here?
Yeah, no, look, in my approach, I've always said I am an excessively practical person. I've also often joked that on my tombstone, it will say he was a reasonable person in an unreasonable world. I try to work with people. Absolutely. We got here in a couple of different ways. One, there was a lot of concern in this country about the inequality that we have seen, the lack of opportunity, and it has frustrated people.
Hold on. Wait. But listen to this. Let me play this back a little bit, because y'all, this is gonna piss me off. I'm about to get real upset. I was so pissed listening to this. I'm gonna run this back because this is important. Listen to what he does.
Concern in this country about the inequality that we have seen, the lack of opportunity, and it has frustrated people. But the second thing is the Republican Party has allowed itself to be taken over by the cult of Donald Trump. You know, whatever Trump wants, whatever Trump.
So that's the issue. That's the issue. Y'all see how he just brushed over that? This is like, ladies, have y'all ever been in a relationship with a man that can like play Jedi mind tricks? Like, I slept with the girl, but the real issue is that you don't cook and clean. Yeah, you caught me in the bed with her, but the real issue is you talk too much. It's like, sir, hold on. We can't pass that up. And then the way he tried to like minimize it. Yeah, there's some economic inequality. No, the country went to hell in a handbasket these past 4 years. Gas was as high. My mother used to say gas was as high as giraffe coochie. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm gonna stop. Gas was high. People with cars breaking down can't afford to get it fixed. People had to go from working one job to now they got to work 2 jobs. Now they're in the gig economy working all these side hustles. Then on top of that, they got to live in places like New York and see illegal immigrants get housed in hotels and given cards and cell phones, and they can't even get any food stamps. They're getting denied for food stamps and they're working Americans, so like, let's not play like those issues weren't the major reason why a lot of people who might not have voted for Trump the first 2 times were like, yeah, I'm going to the polls and voting for Donald Trump this time because y'all done took it too far. Let's not play like towards the end of Joe Biden's administration, he wasn't like money laundering out the wazoo. He was sending so much foreign aid to Africa. It was crazy. Let's not act like people didn't see that. Stop it. The Constitution literally says the executive branch will be vested in a president. The executive branch is entirely in charge of enforcing law. This is facts. That has nothing to do with trying to be a dictator. That it's just a matter of fact that Donald Trump has authority over the executive branch of the government. He is the commander in chief of the military. It is what it is. Careful with studying a Project Mockingbird. It's a rabbit hole. Okay, thank you for warning me. But see now, okay, this is another thing y'all need to know about me. I'm a Gemini. So once I get to researching, I want to see every side of that thing. That's why it's so hard for me to take like a really hard, like, oh, I'm this, I'm that. It's like, no, I got to get both sides first. I got to get really all sides because it's more than 2 sides most of the time. I got to dissect that thing. Hey, Batman, what's up? Definitely term limits. The longer you're in politics, the more you can become paid off, bought off, and blackmailed. Thank you. Because you're definitely right. Yeah, we need term limits. And then I don't even like that people's family members will run. No. I feel like there should be some type of law where if you ran, people that are like in your family, like your daughter can't run for your seat, That's a good idea. Well, how do you get reelected when there are no results for your work? Yeah. I think Congress should not be able to own or use stocks, also not take donations. And you know what? Like, I want to say vanilla pie. A part of me wants to say, well, just because they're in Congress, that don't mean that they should, be broke. They should be able to make some money. But with all the like insider trading that goes on, and that's illegal, by the way. I mean, somebody said, and it sounded brilliant to me, if you want to be rich, just do what Nancy Pelosi does. Just follow her, like follow her every move, right? But yeah, I mean, it does get to the point where how can you act in my interest when you have so much money tied into the system? Maybe it could be a situation where, because I don't think that just because you're a lawmaker you should be starving. And I know we're like, oh, they make $200 and some $1,000. Yeah, but a lot of times they're doing a lot of flying. They live in DC. you know, a lot of the time. So if there could be some way to where maybe we do increase their pay, but because we increase your pay, then no, you can't own stocks, you can't have money tied up in any other businesses, none of that. I don't know. What do y'all think about that? Or do y'all think they already get paid enough? I think 45 is on to something, but I think that's a little harsh. Okay. Exactly. This racist, crap talking politicians always talks about term limits, but never pass a bill doing so. Brainless, Biden, and nasty. Nancy P have been in power for decades, almost 100 years, and she got the nerve to sit up and say, and I've heard her say it many times, Trump is trying to take over and be a dictator. And it's like, ma'am, not you. Not you. Baby, you are holding on to that seat in Congress the same way a balding man hold on to them little hair in the back. Baby, you are holding on to your seat in Congress the way that Donald Trump be holding on to them little hairs just right here in the back that he be swooping trying to cover up that bald spot. Yeah, that's how hard you're holding on to your seat. I'm using 3% as an arbitrary number. Okay, I get what you're saying. Girl, I've definitely had relationships with gaslighting men. They are manipulative. Like this man is giving like he's manipulative, but it's not just him, y'all. Like I don't want y'all to like it's not just him. These women that get on these networks will do the same thing. These these are narcissists. The country is being run by narcissists. With a straight face too. Live and learn is my motto for real. Y'all, we have been like gaslit into oblivion for decades now. My VA disability saved me. Yeah, it's true. Okay, hold on, guys. Let me continue with the video. I'll get to the comments after.
Says they just fall in line, which is not the way this is supposed to work. And President Trump has driven an incredibly negative viewpoint.
Here's another thing. Imagine calling people who voted for Donald Trump a cult of Donald Trump when during 2020 you managed to convince a whole party to vote for a man with dementia that clearly had dementia. And they would have voted for him again had it not been for that mangy Kamala Harris. Okay.
I mean, the American Carnage speech that he gave back in 2017 when he was sworn in to be president in the first place. He has created an apocalyptic tone that has united the right wing in following him. And just normal stuff that would happen is fine. We had Pete Hegseth before the House Armed Services.
No accountability here. Because notice he's talking about the right wing. He's not talking about the huge exodus from the Democrat Party. Like they united the right. What about us that left? What about us that divorced y'all? Okay, left y'all right where you were. Oh, this is all Donald Trump's fault. It has nothing to do with the election rigging. It has nothing to do with how y'all handled the scamdemic. It has nothing to do with how y'all handled the inoculation. It has nothing to do with the economy. It has nothing to do with the fact that y'all played in our face in 2020 and ran a candidate with dementia, ran them again, and then swapped it out the last minute. Didn't even give the people the opportunity to vote in a primary. Meanwhile, y'all knew, just like we knew, that he had dementia years ago. Okay, it's all Donald Trump's fault.
This committee this week. And yeah, I gave a very impassioned opening statement about things I disagreed with. A number of my Democratic colleagues gave very strong statements on a wide range of issues, the politicization of the military, certainly Pete Hegseth's mistakes in the Signalgate controversy. And what really struck me about that 5-hour hearing is Pete Hegseth looked back at us like he could.
The politicization of the military is inherently political. They literally go unalive our opponents. Like that's what they're there for. They're literally there to go slaughter people who oppose our politics. And that's not me trying to talk bad about the military or be anti-military. That's just the reality of their entire purpose. So that makes absolutely no sense. I don't know if he's trying to say that Donald Trump is trying to like use the military against us. Did y'all feel that way? I'm sorry, y'all. There's a football game. It's Colombia. Colombia is playing right now. They're being very loud. But I'm not there right now. Do y'all feel like y'all are residing within a military state right now? Do you feel like you're under martial law? Y'all tell me. I don't know. And I'm asking seriously because I can't speak to it. The corruption runs so deep and been going on since the 40s, maybe or probably before then. People would be shocked, horrified, appalled at how deep and all that was done. I'm going to tell y'all the president that Donald Trump reminds me most. So for those of y'all who don't know, I actually was a political science major. I graduated with a political science degree. I minored in history, and geography was my third field of study. So this is not something that I just get on here and talk about. I studied this for a very long time, and I was one of those people who I was very disillusioned with my political science classes because it seemed like every professor wanted us to read like Machiavelli and Locke. So I made it my point to actually go read things that a lot of y'all probably would think I shouldn't be reading. So I didn't just I know a lot about communism and socialism and the Communist Manifesto and Eastern politics and those sort of things. And then I was a history teacher for a couple years. So Donald Trump reminds me a lot of Andrew Jackson. And I know that a lot of y'all will probably be like, what? Because we were taught that he was a bad president because of the Trail of Tears. And that would can we all collectively admit that was messed up? But he was a very popular president at the time, right? And he had his spoil system. I think a lot of people would say that Donald Trump kind of has his spoil system going on to where he's put people in position that he feels like he could trust. And I feel like given what happened during his last term, I understand why. But also Andrew Jackson was the first and only president to pay off the national debt. He was the only one to do it. And he did it via tariffs. He did it via tariffs. So there are a lot of parallels between Andrew Jackson and Donald Trump's presidency. And I wouldn't be surprised if Donald Trump actually studied his presidency. So again, Andrew Jackson was president during the 1800s. So a lot of this stuff has been going on. These cycles in politics and policy and president, it's been going on for a long time. It's nothing new. If you're just now coming in, please hit the like button. I'm sorry if y'all can hear them. So they were very sneaky. How this happened, there were laws passed and bills that were intentionally vague throughout the Obama admin and Bush, probably Clinton too. They erased these. Yeah, it gave them broad power. Thanks for the background. Jackson also doubled the landmass by purchasing the Louisiana territory. He did. And again, I'm not saying, obviously the human in me, when I read about what happened during the Trail of Tears, is horrified by that. And I can say I'm like, how do you do that to people, right? And I feel like had it not been for that, his legacy would have been that of the greatest president to ever exist. And again, for his time, at the time he was president, he was extremely popular.
Couldn't have possibly cared less anything that we had to say. He feels he is that unaccountable that no matter what, as long as he's loyal to Trump, he'll keep his job and he'll keep getting support. And that is not what normally happens on the Armed Services Committee. I've been through, for Democrat and Republican presidents, countless secretaries of defense of both parties. We've certainly had disagreements, but there's always been a sense of response of, yes, we're going to work on that. You know, he just looked like he didn't care because he knew Trump would back him up no matter what.
He doesn't care. He doesn't care. First of all, so we're talking about Pete Hegseth. How do y'all think? What do y'all think about him so far? What do you think about the job he's doing? I like Pete Hegseth, but let's be clear. Y'all gave him the blues during his confirmation hearings. Y'all don't like him. So for them to think that he's going to come in there with a hunky-dory attitude about having to work with them is delusional at best to me. Furthermore, Trump does have his back. Trump appointed him, right? And if he felt like people like Adam Smith were doing a great job, he would have tried to appoint somebody that they would have easily approved of. But he didn't do that. So yes, he does not care what you have to say.
Not the way our country is supposed to function. Whether you're a conservative, a liberal, Democrat, Republican, this isn't a partisan issue. It's about accountability and the rule of law.
I hate it when they do this. I hate it when they do this. It's so fake and disingenuous. This isn't a partisan issue. Meanwhile, this entire interview that was supposed to be about two other congresspeople losing their lives, you have turned it into a means for you to spew politically motivated partisan talking points. This entire time, the conversation has been partisan. Now, all of a sudden, you're not trying to be partisan? Okay.
It's not normal, but it's where we are. So where do we go from here?
Yep. Well, where we go from here is we push back. We push back peacefully. Look, we've had many movements in this country, a lot of progressive movements that have been successful in the face of long odds. We had the Gilded Age back in the 19th century, and it took a long time and a lot of efforts and a lot of organization to push back against that and put in place a number of progressive laws like the income tax, like the Fair Labor Standards Act, antitrust laws, the New Deal. Made a huge difference to the American people. The Great Society during Lyndon Johnson's era gave us Medicare, Medicaid, the Civil Rights Act. All of that happened because of what the images that you're showing on your screen right now, because people rose up and made the case to go in a different direction, not violently, but peacefully.
Okay, but here's the thing. First of all, and he's right about those social and political movements that happened at the time. But like what he doesn't understand is this is the Trump movement is very much a populist working class movement and a rejection of all the inequities that the elites, including people like him, Democrats, have thrown on us. Like, let's make no mistake, and this is not to talk bad about the immigrants that were coming in, but that was absolutely an attempt to replace the American working class person. It was. Let's be clear. That was absolutely an attempt to try to secure future Democrat votes. That was absolutely. Then they started moving them into swing states. Once they got sent to New York, then they started trying to send them over to swing states like Philadelphia and things like that, with the hopes that eventually those states would eventually permanently turn blue. And then we would never come, like we'd always have a Democrat for a president. Like, what? That was absolutely an attempt to do that. So make no mistake, this whole movement, people voting for Donald Trump, or maybe if they didn't vote for Donald Trump, people moving away from the Democrat Party, is completely a working class movement, much in the same way the populist movement was during the Gilded Age and the progressive era movement. I like Hexeth. The top brass in the military is completely disconnected from the average soldier. Most of them never saw combat, but they are bullying lower ranking officers with experience. I'm gonna have to get like some people who have been on the military to do a panel one day. I'm sorry if it's loud, y'all. I understand asking questions and trying to connect dots and look for a motive. That's curiosity and to be expected, but using the info to point fingers at this time is wrong. Yes, and that's what I'm saying. We don't really know what happened yet. And Becky, you know me, I'm good for a conspiracy, but like I don't know enough about what happened yet to even like, but I definitely wouldn't think to use this as a means to start trying to play mind games with the American people. Like, can we not? Hexeth is great for our military. DEI has no place in our military. You know what? I'm gonna have to agree with you because the stuff that I was seeing, mind you, I'm all for people in the LGBTQ community being able to join the military. From what they tell me, see, I don't want to offend nobody. I was about to say something about the Navy. Let me stop. It's just rumors. I don't know anything. Uh, but I need you to look the part. I cannot have you go and get to combat with blue hair and you a man and you got on a like no. I need you to look like the men to look like the men and the women to look like the women. I don't need you going before our enemies looking a damn fool. I don't need you getting upset when you go to another country and they misgender you and you going off on them people. I don't want to see that. I don't want us looking like that out here. Okay, play the part. That is why I'm against Trump's tariffs, not because I don't like tariffs, but because they are not being used correctly. Why do you think they're not being used correctly? I think they've been used very effectively. Y'all know I did a whole show. I might need to run it back. I did a whole show breaking down tariffs. It's also a census play. It is for representation. It's complete and total manipulation for representation. I knew they were up to no good when in California, it's illegal to ask somebody for ID to vote. And then they try to play on our emotions like, oh my God, poor people don't have access to ID. Most people that I know, even in like the most ratchet hood, got an ID. And like it's so few of them that don't, that it's like whatever. Were they really gonna go vote anyway? Do they pay attention? The ones that don't have an ID, that y'all like, think of the hoodest person that you know in the ghetto in poverty that doesn't have an ID. Were they gonna go vote anyway? Like, for real, do they pay attention to politics anyway? Like, think of the type of person that walks around with no ID and no driver license and ask yourself, were they going to take themselves to the ballot box on election day? Let's be so for real out here. So that's what I'm saying. They will try to use like a small circumstance or a circumstance that's not going to affect the majority of people to make it seem like, okay, well, because of this, we can't have any type of voter ID laws. And what does that leave? That leaves room for error. That leaves room for massive fraud if you would like to engage in that. Like, what do you mean it's illegal to ask somebody for their ID? That's crazy. Maybe it's because I'm from Texas. That is wild behavior to me, honestly and truly. Give me a second, y'all. Everyone too young to remember MASH. I think I remember it. It was like a game we played on like Married or so. I don't know. Explain it. The only positives I saw come out of the military DEI was gay soldiers being able to claim their spouses. Okay, I can agree with that. Like if you're gay and you're married, I feel like they should still do that. They can't do that anymore. Like, Come on. I think you should be able to claim your spouse. If you're, they allowed to get married, let them claim their spouses. I just don't like all that. Like, don't be going into combat with lip gloss on, and you was a man and you got on red and pink lipstick. Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't embarrass us like that. On the streets as a civilian, that's fine. That's fine. In front of the enemy, don't do that. They said black people couldn't use computers. Holy hell, who said black people couldn't use computers? Hi, Katie Gibson. Who said that? Who said that? Seems random. Were y'all talking about something else? Who said that? Okay. Oh, I get what you're saying. Hold on, I think I get what you're saying. I don't know. Explain that, girl. I hope I don't look slow in front of y'all. Do y'all get what she was trying to say? Okay, y'all please hit the like button if you're just now coming in.
Relentlessly and in large numbers. That's what has to happen. And we have to grow the group of people who are supporting us. We can clearly say that a lot of people.
You know why y'all are not going to grow the group of people who are supporting you, Democratic Party? Because you will not be honest about what you did wrong. We don't like you right now. We're not coming back. Because y'all just do the same stuff over and over and over again. And conservatives who have always been conservatives have never seen a reason to align themselves with you. The ones that you could possibly get back, you don't want to put in the work to get them back, because then that would require you actually doing the right thing, which you don't want to do. So no, you're going to continue to bleed support. It just is what it is.
Who voted for Trump did not vote for people being disappeared off our streets by masked men who do not identify themselves and sent to prisons in places like El Salvador and Libya. They didn't vote for that.
Okay, y'all see the manipulation. Let's be clear. So y'all know I did the video about the breakdown about the prison in El Salvador yesterday. Mind you, I knew about this prison before Trump started sending them there. I'm a huge President Bukele of El Salvador fan. Like, I stan Bukele all day. I stan a Bukele. I stan Malay in Argentina, like a fangirl. Okay. We're gonna call Bukele, Trump, and Malay the big three who took the West back. Okay, that's what we're gonna call them, And again, I'll criticize them when they do wrong, but like, as far as trying to put the people in their country first, they're really doing the thing, And Malay, honestly and truly, the way he be telling the Congress in Argentina, we don't have no money. We don't have no money. He did a speech and he was like, de nuevo, no hay plata. And like, in Spanish, that means I'm gonna tell you again, we don't have no money, because they had the Congress was just spending so much money and doing so much money laundering, y'all. He cut the Department of Education, y'all. Y'all know how Trump's came in, like, oh, we're gonna get rid of the Department of Education, we're gonna get rid of this department, we're gonna be that. Bukele like came in and was actually did it. Not Bukele, Malay. He came in and actually did it. Like, oh my God, he's a wild person. Okay, but anyway, their economy is doing much better, and he's an extremely popular president, just like Bukele. But anyways, Donald Trump was sending criminals to that prisoner in El Salvador. Okay, he's sending the criminals. And the president of El Salvador said he ain't sending them back to the U.S. Furthermore, a lot of the reasons why President Trump is having to send illegal immigrants to African countries who have agreed to take them, and they're not going to prison, they're going to integrate them into society, is because their own countries won't take them back. What does that say to y'all about some of these people who were over here, that the Venezuelan government, it was like, no, we don't want them back? Now, I told y'all that it's true. It's well known here in Colombia. Everybody knows that they literally did empty out their prisons and sent them on their way up to the United States. That is not to say that every Venezuelan that came to the United States or even the majority, or even 25. I don't know what percentage came up there, came out of the prisons. But that country had economically collapsed. So there was a mass migration of a mixture of people out of that country, right? I see them here in Colombia. There are a lot of Venezuelan refugees here in Colombia. They're very good people. You know what? To me, they're like the Americans of South America. They listen to our music. A lot of them know how to speak English. They pay attention to our culture. They truly are the Americans of South America. So I'm not trying to demonize them. But those Venezuelan gangs that came up out of those prisons and were taking over those apartment complexes, yeah, that would have never happened. That would have never happened had it not been for the Biden-Harris administration. And that was crazy. And the American people could not stand for that. Like, we're not used to that. We're not used to that in the United States. I'm sorry. We're not used to that. Those moto crimes where people drive on a motorcycle and snatch phones and snatch purses that they started doing in New York. We're not used to that, boo. Now, I know when I go into the city in Medellin, not to walk around with my phone like this, but I'm prepared. I know this happens. In the United States, y'all not used to all that, okay? Guys, please hit the like button if you're just now coming in. They have IDs or they wouldn't get state aid. Yeah. Or, I mean, to me, that whole telling people that it's voter suppression to require a state ID to vote is ridiculous to me. That the only reason they don't have IDs is because their driver's license got revoked. And again, most of the time, those type of people aren't showing up to vote anyway. I'm just being for real. Those are not the type of people that care enough to go vote. The show and the game, yes, yeah. I'm glad Lou showed us your channel. I could listen to you talk all day. Oh, thank you, Katie. That's so sweet of you. Yeah, he was a real one for that. Like, he did not have to do that. He did not have to do that. Like, honestly and truly, that was luck. Let me tell y'all. I've been working on growing my channel for a while. I've been trying to be consistent. And of course, I have my day. I've been growing, but I've been growing slow. And yesterday, I was not even going to come on. But I forced myself to get on because I was like, I need to just keep going, even though it doesn't look like what I want it to look like. So the moral of the story, y'all, is like, keep going. God will see you and something will happen. But I'm very grateful for everybody that has showed me love. But you know what? I've been blessed because, even though I was a small channel, I had my people that consistently showed up for me, so I've been blessed in that regard, teams cannot deploy because of the medication they have to take, and that isn't right for the rest of the military. Oh, okay. I didn't realize that the medication was a problem. I didn't think of that. I see what you're saying. So it's like they could be in the military and get the benefits of being in the military and train, but they can't deploy because of the medicine. So basically, you get to be in the military, live off of the military, but you're not taking the same risk as the other men. Oh, baby, no. I see exactly why he ended the DEI. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. The Obama era was still don't ask, don't tell. They could be kicked out for being gay. Yeah, I don't think you should be kicked out for being gay. I do think though there should be a certain standard of conduct. Like, don't be doing don't be overly, y'all, my camera's about to die. Hold on. Don't be overly aggressive with it. Y'all get what I'm trying to say? Like, don't be hitting, don't do that. The Democrats over voter ID. Okay. I think she's saying that was the excuse they gave for people not getting their IDs. Okay, I see what you're saying. Which is an insult to us. Yeah, like what? Furthermore, here's the thing about Black people. We are very resourceful people. When we want to get somewhere or get something, we know how to get to where we want to go and we know how to get it. So if somebody really cared about voting, I'm sure they would figure out a way to make sure they got their ID in time. We are not slow. I believe it was Gretchen Whitmer that said they don't have computers. I remember that. Okay. Yes. Now I know what you're talking about. Yes, I remember she said that. New York Governor Kathy Hochul was the one who made the comment about computers. I remember that. Yes. I know what y'all are talking about now. Okay. Was a little slow for a second. Left off a few words, lol. I meant saying we can't use computers as an insult to us as if we're dumb. Facts. Love your content, Mariah. Thank you, Alan. Thank you so much. And thank y'all for showing up. Bukele, Malay, and Trump for real. So y'all, that combo, they have saved the way. I don't think y'all understood where we were heading, right? I'm not saying that we're out of the water yet. We don't know how it's gonna look, but what I will say is if we would have been under a Kamala Harris administration, there would have still been mass migration into the United States. People would be again, I talked to y'all about what was happening with the truckers and the trucking industry and illegal immigration. It's not just people coming and picking fields. Like, no, people were actually like losing jobs that Americans still want to do to illegal immigrants, right? Who could barely drive the trucks. And again, this is no shade. I'm not talking bad about the illegal immigrants that came. I understood they were trying to do better. I'm blaming the government and these businesses. Okay. So gas prices would be out the wazoo. Now, it's the cost of living in the United States is still high. I don't think it will ever just truly go. Inflation works like this. Things don't ever go back to what they were. But like, I feel like we've stopped the bleeding, Hey, Sarah Ruth. That's a cute name. You have been infiltrated by communists after. Oh, we have been infiltrated by communists after Hitler fell. We took some of those scientists and professors and spread them throughout the universities. Their plan to infiltrate everywhere. Well, here's the thing about the whole university thing. Like, I noticed, so y'all, I told y'all I was a political science major. But I noticed that we only read like the same 4 books. And I'm like, how are these upper level classes? Like, how are these upper level university classes? And every professor is assigning the same authors. Is this is this some type of like, did y'all department head put some type of ban on what political theories we can read? I don't know. That was always weird to me. Hats off for you to move to Colombia. I would head to Argentina if I can't get to Greenland. I'm actually thinking about going to Argentina for a couple months this year. I will let y'all know soon. I'm actually thinking, I'll know by the end of next month. I'm thinking about going and doing 3 months in Peru, 3 months in Argentina, and then coming back here in January. I will let y'all know. It's actually a shame their criminals are giving them a bad. But hold on, real quick, Tam, I'm sorry. Do it. As soon as you can do it, do it. It's actually a shame their criminals are giving them a bad reputation. Venezuelans tend to vote a lot like Cubans. Yeah, let me tell y'all, like the Venezuelans that I meet here, first of all, this is another thing I want to bring up because everybody likes to act like America is so racist. I love Colombian people. They are very kind. They are very nice. The way a lot of them treat Venezuelans, baby, especially in the capital. And let me be fair, their crime rate has increased. Since they took Venezuelan immigrants in, their crime rate has increased dramatically. So it's not without reason, but the way they treat even the ones who are here doing what they're supposed to do sometimes can be very ugly. all throughout the US, it took them all that time to get to the phase of destroy the Constitution and the US government for them to bring in communism. Look at where we are at. They are using the cartel. Well, I wonder if the United States is using the cartel or if the cartel is using the United States. How do you feel about that? Like what do you think is the real way of it? I think that it is very possible that the cartel members have gotten to a lot of our politicians, and like the politicians are getting benefits with working with them, especially with like the whole trafficking of children thing. But like I don't, I think it's not really a choice. You get what I'm trying to say? I think once the cartel steps to you, it's not a whether or not you are or not going to get involved with them. You are. You definitely are. Lou sent me New York representing here. What's up? I love New York people. It's the accent for me. Ever since LV Nation sent me, I've been watching you. Oh, thank you so much, K-Man. I really appreciate him for putting y'all on me. And y'all been cool people. Y'all actually are really like a good audience, because some people like y'all really came over here and showed up and showed love. So that just lets me know how y'all view him, how much y'all are endeared to him. I watched some videos and he seemed like a pretty good-hearted person. However, the military doesn't normally keep personnel that cannot deploy. So they should not be in the service. I agree, Bailey, Mystique. Yeah, if you can't deploy, if we just have you here to be here, what is the point? You're just taking up space. And their surgeries would be paid for 100% by taxpayer. Yeah, and to me, I view those surgeries, they'll say they're medical, but I view those are very expensive surgeries. Like to get your, and this is another reason why I feel like this was pushed so much by the medical industry. I remember at one point to get your Audi turned into an innie, it was like $20,000. That's more than a boob job. You can't be in the military with the mental disorder and being on mind body altering effects. Yeah, I mean, it makes sense to me. Dinner is ready. Gotta go. Happy Father's Day to all the dads. He also, oh my God, y'all, I'm so sorry. Happy Father's Day. Thank you, Tupac, for showing up. Yes, happy Father's Day to all the fathers, okay, that are out here handling your business, taking care of your kids, doing what you need to do. They don't ask, don't tell, kept the military in line and focused on the mission. Since then, it's regressed to where we are now. Yeah. I think just as a culture, we became too obsessed with things that were sexual in nature. And I don't like that. And so it was like all happening at the same time. We became too obsessed with people's sexuality. We became too upset, like hookup culture became the thing. And then like people, it was to the point, ain't nothing wrong with being sexy. Ain't nothing wrong with having a little cleavage, showing some thighs. But then it just kind of came to the point where women were going outside with nothing on. Then you're turning on the kids shows and it's two dads, and then it's people and you turning on the kids shows and the girls are kissing, and or it was too much, y'all. It was too much. And hopefully Hollywood shifts gears too. Here is the old saying: a man fleeing war takes his wife and children. A man going to war leaves them behind. Let that sink in. Okay, I understand. Here, there's the old okay, I read that. Toxic, yes, they all have the same talking points when stuff goes down on both sides. It's getting us nowhere at that point. Exactly. And again, there are some of these, I support Donald Trump's agenda, but honestly and truly, the Republicans, they need to make sure, it's not going to be too hard to beat the Democrats because they've just fallen so badly now. But if the Republicans want to keep a hold of the coalition that they built, because let's be clear, the Republican Party of today is not the Republican Party of 4 or 8 years ago. They are going to have to run a candidate that is not ultra conservative. Like, do y'all understand what I'm saying? The conservatives, the Republican Party is going to have a lot to reckon with because y'all have a new voter base. So there are going to have to be some concessions made, and y'all are going to have to run a candidate that can appeal to the entire coalition if they want to beat the Democrats in 2028. They would do well to do that. I think the cartels got to our judges as well. Oh yeah, and in Dallas we had a man, this was a while ago. We had a lawyer that came up unalived. The cartel got to him. Real knows real. They are forever patients. Yeah, that's true. You talking about the transgenders in the military. And now they are forcing it on our kids, baby. They can't force it on mine. That's another reason why I chose to leave too, because I felt like there was just too much indecency allowed, and I'm like, I don't want my kids growing up around kids that are growing up way too fast. I don't want my daughter seeing certain things. So hopefully we can get back on track. Mariah, did you mean to change your screen to your avatar? No, my camera died. Let me see if it's back charged. Give me a second. Hold on. It's got a little charge to it. Hold on. Oh, no. Hold on, give me a second. There we go. Okay. For years back, the sergeant and his team that were to guard and secure the nuke silo were busted for selling LSD to locals and others. The kicker is they were also raking LSD when they were working. I wouldn't put it past them. What up, Dorian Richardson? JD Vance. I would vote for JD Vance. I would vote for JD Vance, but I'm not gonna come. I would if things continue the way they are, and a lot of whether or not I actually go back to the States and cast a vote is gonna depend on what happens the rest of Trump's terms. Right now I don't see anybody, like I can't think of not one Democrat on that side that they could run that I would be like, oh, that's a better candidate than JD Vance. I can't think of not one. Like, who are they going to run? AOC? AOC? I'm sitting here nodding my head yes to everything you're saying. My neck is getting tired. Okay, Sarah, don't break your neck now, girl. Okay, y'all please hit the like button. Ohio for Trumps. Y'all hit the like button. That helps people know I'm on live. Hold on, y'all. Let me move. Vance 2028 for sure. Yeah, I mean, I'm leaning that way. I can't think of any candidate on the Democrat side that I could trust. Here's another thing. With the Democrats, it's like, even if you like a candidate, right? Like, even if you like a candidate, can you trust them to stand up to the party? And that's one thing I could say. I understood why a lot of people who supported Trump supported him, because he stood up to Republicans. What a lot of people don't understand is the only reason why he ran as a Republican, in my opinion, because if you listen to a lot of Trump's policies, he's very center. For example, his stance on abortion is like most of the country. He thinks it should happen up to a certain point. Like, he doesn't think you should be doing third term abortions, but 14 weeks, cool. That's his stance on it. He's very, very center in a lot of his opinions, right? And culturally, he's center. To me, like, just because he doesn't necessarily agree with the trans agenda doesn't mean that he doesn't think that LGBTQ people should have rights, so but the thing with the Democrats is, even if you find a candidate that you really like I really like Bernie Sanders, he didn't have the balls to stand up to the Democratic Party. It was almost as if he was controlled opposition, to be honest, now that I think about it. Whereas Donald Trump knew he could never win. Like, he knew they would never actually let him get on a general election ballot. So he had no. Here's the thing about the Republicans. People can say what they want to say about them, whether you agree with them or disagree. They let people run. They give you a fair shot. They let you run. So he knew the only shot he had at winning was running as a Republican, right? And then on top of that, he had the balls to stand up to every one of those rhinos who were in the media bumping their gum. He had the cojones. I can't think of any, like, AOC would never stand up to Nancy Pelosi. Remember when she tried to, and Nancy Pelosi checked her, and then like the next week she was calling her Mama Bear? Like, come on now. He's done good things for Ohio. I was surprised he was picked for BP. Really? AOC, I didn't know him before he got picked for VP, but when I heard about his story and his background, actually his childhood reminds me a lot of myself. And so, like, when I see JD Vance, this is why I love seeing people for people and looking past skin color, because honestly and truly, I relate, me being whatever you want to call me, you know, I don't care. I identify myself as, like, I don't know now. It's so crazy that this is even a discussion. I grew up on my Black side of the family. My mother is Black and my father is white. So technically speaking, I'm biracial, but culturally, I grew up on my mother's side of the family. So I'm more of a Black woman, you know, but some people don't like me saying that. And I'm not trying to deny my dad's side. It's just I don't really like know that culture that much, you know. But like, me being a woman and being a minority, growing up in Black culture, this is why I love that I've like evolved over the years. Because like when I listen to JD Vance doing an interview, even though he's like way more conservative than me and he's white and he's a man, I could like see myself in him, right? And I don't think I would have been able to see that 4 or 8 years ago. Like, it took me slowly evolving and maturing. Do y'all understand? I don't trust either party, but right now I know I'm not willing to chance our country in the left's hands again. Like, yeah, that's the thing. Like, you would have to, like, for all the work that Trump's doing to try to like clean up the country, especially with immigration, it's like, who would want a chance them just completely undoing all of that, and then we have to deal with this situation again? You know, when you really think about it, it's really cruel what they did. When you really think about it, letting all these people in here, knowing that Congress wasn't going to pass any type of laws regarding them, knowing that it could all easily be undone with the next administration. It was really cruel what they did to those people, promising them jobs, and then there was no jobs for them to come do here. Our economy has gone to hell in a handbasket. Oh, Bernie got a brand new mansion for his troubles. Yeah, I ain't rocking with him no more. I ain't rocking with him. Let's be clear. I've been not rocking with him. Since 2020, I was like, okay, you're not really trying to get elected. So it's giving controlled opposition. You really weren't trying, sir. You let these people take you all up and through there and make a fool of you. And then sit up and talk about these are your friends. Okay. Hillbilly eulogy hits home for a lot of us, and it turned him into a real person for a lot of us. Yeah, for sure. I never see the skin color, so I don't get that at all. I just don't like a-holes and bullies. Well, I see skin color. You know, I would be lying if I say that I didn't, you know, because like part of it might have been my upbringing. I think you always notice when people are, unless you like stay around them long enough and you get used to them. But like, if you're somebody like me who grew up around like minorities predominantly, and then we all have prejudices. I don't care who you are. I don't care what color you are, we all have certain prejudice is not the same as racist. But if you don't spend enough time about people, you have certain things that you think about them, right? And certain things are true, certain things are not true. You just got to get to know the people. So, you know, even to this day, I feel like I see skin color, but I don't care about it. Like, does that make sense? Like, I don't have to dismiss the fact that you're a different skin color than me in order for me to be accept you and be cool with you, right? Like, I see it, it just don't matter. What kind of person are you? That's where I'm coming from. Like, are we in alignment? Google search, America Air Force uncovered LSD use among airmen guarding nuclear missiles. This took place in 2018. And mind y'all, these guys were in control of 400 ICBMs. If that don't scare y'all, you know what's scary is that one person has the decision, makes the decision on whether or not we're going to use nuclear weapons. That's scary. I feel like we take that for granted, just how much we walk around here in danger. And this have nothing to do with Trump. That's like if any president, you know, but you know, it's the nature of the beast. I trust Pete. Okay. Yeah. I mean, for now, I'm not seeing nothing that's too crazy. I am a little bit concerned about what's going on with Israel and Iran right now. Again, I don't think we should get involved or pay for any wars. We're going through enough in our own country. And the people, you know, if we're gonna give anybody some money, give it to the people. Okay, if we just gonna give folks money, give it to the American people. That's how I feel about it. With that said, guys, I am about to do a members only live. If you want to hop on there after this, it starts at 9 o'clock. I'm gonna do a members only live, and I am going to react to ICE raids and like liberal meltdowns over it. Like, I'm gonna try to be humorous. We're not gonna get on them too bad. Well, you know, I'm gonna come from a place of compassion. So if y'all would like to see those reaction videos, hop on the members only live. So hopefully I see y'all there. With that said, thank y'all to everybody who showed up. Please hit the like button on the way out. And I will see y'all back. If you're not going to hop on the members only live, I will see y'all tomorrow night around 7-ish, you know, if y'all are available. With that said, it's all love. Thank y'all for showing up. Y'all have a good night. Goodbye. Oh, thank you so much, Dorian Richardson. I appreciate you. This is why I became a trucker and now about to switch into data and analytics. Foreigners have caused the rates to drop. I talked about this yesterday, Dorian. I don't know if you watched my live yesterday. I talked about how the illegal immigration was causing truckers to have a decrease in pay to where a lot of truckers had to leave the trucking industry. So thank you for confirming that. All right, y'all have a good night.